For this activity, you will be analyzing diagrams of different positive and negative feedback mechanisms in the body. I suggest that you rewatch this video here of the notes all about homeostasis that talks about effectors, receptors, stimuli, and responses. This was the same video that was in the Ed puzzle. You don't have to rewatch the whole Ed puzzle, but this was the video for it. It will be helpful for you to review that vocabulary before you get started. So for this activity, you may choose to work individually or with a partner. And I'll explain how you're going to do that in just a moment. But I will say, if you choose to work with a partner, there's also this Google Forms that you need to fill out that describes the role that you had in this activity and your partner's role in this activity, and give you and your partner a rating for how well you work together on this in a remote setting. Please also note that Google tracks all of the edits you make to the document. So if you say you're working with the partner, but you do none of the work, I will know. You do not have to fill out this Google form if you choose to work individually. So how to access the activity? What you're going to do is you're going to click this Google Sheets. And you're going to use this sign up sheet to sign up for your groups and access the slides. So, what you're going to do is type your name and your partner's name, and also please include your cohort. If you're choosing to work by yourself, please still pick a group, but just next to partner to name, just write no partner. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on the link to the Google Slides that corresponds with your group. All of them are the same slides. I just make it so each of you has a copy that you both can edit simultaneously as you are working on this. So if you click on the link, it'll bring you to the Google Slides. The next thing I want to mention is if you and a partner are working on this together, both of you need to submit this document into Google Classroom. And I will post a video tutorial of how to upload assignments into Google Classroom in case you don't already know how. So how to do this activity. Throughout the slides, there are some pictures of positive and negative feedback diagrams. And for each diagram, you're first going to summarize the diagram, identifying the stimuli and responses. So in other words, explain what is going on in the diagram. So that's going to be the first slide for each diagram. It says there, summarize the diagram here. So you'll just click on this dialog box or this text box. You can erase what it says here and just type in your description. Remember to include whether you go above the normal and what happens when you go below the normal. The next thing you are going to do is copy and paste these labels into each of the diagrams. So, or the second slide for each diagram. In order to do that, you click on the text box and you can do edit, copy, and then once you get to the diagram, you can hit edit, paste. And then you can drag it, move it around wherever you think it needs to go. You can resize the labels if you want to make them a little bit smaller. You can even change the size of the text in there if you wanted to, or you can add an arrow by selecting a line, arrow, and then just sort of dragging it to wherever you think it goes. You want to make sure you label each receptor and effector on the second slide for each diagram. Please remember that receptors and effectors are both body parts. So you're going to want to be looking for organs to label with these. Altogether, there are a total of 3 different diagrams that you have to describe, label, and identify whether they are positive or negative feedback. And then finally, the last 2 slides are a little bit different. This diagram here shows part of a negative feedback mechanism. So it shows what happens when the amount of oxygen gets too low. What you are going to do is you're going to describe what you would think would go on the top half of this diagram. So how would your body react if the oxygen in your blood was too high? And then just describe what are some of the effectors and receptors that you think would be in that diagram. And then finally, the very last slide asks you to go back and make some observations about the diagrams that you said were positive feedback and the ones you said that were negative feedback. Take a look at the shapes. There's your hint. Based on your observations, do you think a single negative feedback loop would be helpful in maintaining homeostasis? Type your answer and then explain why or why not. If you have any questions, please send me an email.